Today we're going to talk about the differences between the globe, heliocentric model, and the flat earth model. They are two completely separate models. Don't get them confused with each other. This is not the flat earth model. This is a representation of the flat earth model created by heliocentrics to confuse you and make it into a joke, because this is not the actual model, and I'll show you what it really is. So on that last example, you could see how the heliocentric model, the globe model, and the firmament flat earth model are intertwined with each other, and there's both beliefs in the same system. That is not correct. They're two separate. So here is the flat earth model. There's a firmament. The stars, the moon, and the sun are all inside of the firmament. Outside of the firmament is waters from above and below. So on this flat earth model, everything that we know is inside of the firmament. The sun, the moon, the stars are all inside the firmament. And the planets on the flat earth model are very different than they are on the heliocentric model. On the flat earth model, the planets are luminaries, they're wandering stars, they're sources of light. They are not landable surfaces like Earth is. On the flat earth model, Earth is the only realm. It's the only planet-like realm that there is to exist. So on the globe model, space is outside of the globe. On the flat earth model, space is inside of the firmament. Going to the globe model now, all of this is completely different than the flat earth model. This is heliocentrism, where the sun is in the center, it's the biggest, and all of the other planets revolve around the sun. This is heliocentrism. This is a flat earth model, completely different. On the heliocentric globe model, they say that the sun is 93 million miles away from Earth. Everything revolves around the sun, and it's way larger than every other planet, including Earth. On the flat earth model, the sun and the moon are local. They're both their own sources of light. The moon is a lesser light than the sun, and they illuminate as a spotlight on a certain area in a fixed position, and they move around as like a spotlight in order to illuminate a certain area at a certain time. And we all know that on the globe model, the moon is a rock that the sun is shining on to illuminate it. So it's not its own light on the globe model. One of the biggest differences on the globe versus the flat earth is water. So on the globe, you could see that water is 360 around it, sticking to a ball that's spinning. There's no container holding the water, and gravity holds it in. On the flat earth model, our Earth's surface is extremely vast, and it does not curve. It's stationary, flat, and water is always flat and level on the flat earth model. But water still is level and flat on this model, don't forget. The globe model spins and moves, and all these motions are happening. Flat earth is stationary, completely not moving, and the stars, sun, and the moon rotate around Earth. So yeah, those are some of the key differences between the two models, and let me know if you would like a part 2 on this.
Why are all of these people so full of shit? Why doesn't anyone realize that the atmosphere is opaque? That's the reason these mountains are changing colors as they get farther away. You are not here on a ball paying taxes to pedophiles. You're actually here on a flat stationary plane paying taxes to pedophiles. Lunar module? Or failed science project? Why are we seeing stars through the moon? Which one is it now? Is it a pear? Or is it an oblate spheroid? Make up your mind. Where are the stars in these pictures? People want to know. Is it A, B, C, or D?
While we're on the topic of Freemasons, who knows who this guy is? Anyone? Charles Darwin, evolutionist. Yeah, the guy that, would tell people to go and get orangutan skulls and try to pass them off as humans to find the missing link. Hey, Charles, never found the missing link, did you? Oh, it feels so bad. I hope you're crying in your grave, you piece of shit. Yeah, no, we have a creator. We're at the center of creation. The Earth's flat. Evolution never happened. We did not evolve from monkeys. You are a super special being. That's what all this is meant to do, is to make you feel worthless. Like we're on a spinning ball and a meteor could take us out at any moment. But no, these guys are all Freemasons. Copernicus, all of them, Freemasons. That's who we're fighting.
How is this possible? On this? Why are NASA artists, NASA's digital artists, why are they admitting that all of these ball photos are Photoshop. Why are the Freemasons saying that Australia is upside down on the bottom side of a ball? Australia's waterfalls don't fall upside down. All of our waterfalls fall the same way. If we all point down, we're all pointing down. We're not pointing at each other. Why is the horizon so horizontal? Why is there a shape of Pluto the dog on supposedly Pluto the planet? And why were they both discovered the same year? Questions unanswered. Why is sea level called sea level and not sea curve?
Dude, what is he saying?
Oh no, we've become so smart, they're stupid to us!
And now I want to sit back and relax and enjoy my evening. When all of a sudden, I hear this agitating, grating voice.
Global warming. Monkeypox. Evolution. Dinosaurs. Dude, we are not getting our car juice from dinosaur grapes, man. Seriously, wake up. Time to wake up. I'll believe in griffins way before I believe in dinosaurs. I will believe in dragons way before I believe in dinosaurs. Why? Because our ancestors wrote tons of stories about them and stuff. So I trust them a lot more than the people, these psychopathic, crazy people that are running the world right now. Dinosaur bones, if you want to ask me my opinion, I would say probably made up to hide the giants and the dragons and maybe the griffins. Kandahar Giant, YouTube.
Alright, well NASA released some amazing images. Let's check it out, shall we? So this is a little older image, but I wanted to show it anyway. I just love the galaxies in it, and it's just an incredible image. Like, all this is just really amazing. Next is our new image that they just released from the James Webb Telescope. So this is the image. Yeah, it's just a little pattern going on here. 6, no big deal. Yeah, so it's just really amazing, all of the detail and all of the galaxies, and it's just copy and paste is a really amazing thing. Here's another one from James Webb. Yep. Okay, and yeah. Love it. Love to see it. My personal favorite is the finale of the James Webb Telescope. I just love that it's so real that it looks fake. Love to see it all over the place. This image is just incredible. I mean, our universe is just so amazing. It's just so incredible. Just wanted to zoom in a little bit. It's just really cute how the stars are perfect little stars. Just perfect star. It's like Christmas. I love it. And I know what you're thinking. Come on, Jenny. The telescope was $10 billion. Of course they're going to have perfect images of space. Of course. I'm going to take their word for it. $10 billion to take those pictures. So just for reference, this Hubble telescope image that we have here, we paid $10 billion to do this. To just brighten it up a little bit. $10 billion to change the colors and brighten it up. Here's one more time so you could see. And then if you just scroll down on the article, the Webb can look back into time, into the Big Bang, just after the Big Bang happened, looking into galaxies far away. It took light billions of years to get there. Is anyone else just tired of it? One more thing. Hubble observed the universe 450 million years after the Big Bang. Okay. A lot of people that I know have been reposting this, so I thought, let me check the Facebook and just see the comments under it. I'll show you 2 top comments that there are. The significance of our existence is insignificance. That's the top comment on NASA's images, is what people get out of this is that we're insignificant. One more, top comment. Beautiful, but we are a speck. They have reached their goal. is what they're doing. They want you to feel like nothing. And people do. Mission accomplished.
Satellites? More like sataloons. NASA is the #1 consumer of helium in the world. Didn't you know? Or should I say level playing? As a flat earther, I'm not denying that satellites exist. I'm just saying that they don't work in the way that they've been described to us. A lot of them are attached to helium balloons, and maybe they stay up there for a year or two, but everything that goes up must come down. Also, before the total censorship of the internet, tons of videos and pictures were popping up of people finding these things crashed. So for short, absolutely not. I don't think that some satellites can geostationarily orbit over the same piece of land while simultaneously not having an engine, propulsion system, combustion system, and some of them can polarly orbit going around. Dude, no one's ever circumnavigated north to south, so obviously I don't believe in this one. There's no such thing as the South Pole. And then you've got geocentric orbits. How in the world is a satellite supposed to decide to fall over the curvature of the Earth in different ways like this? Like, you send it out there on a rocket, supposedly, or with a balloon, drop it off. How does it decide whether to geostationarily orbit, geocentrically, or polarly? It doesn't make sense. Think about it. Ever looked up satellites on a search engine before? Yeah, you're not going to get anything real looking. And seriously, the James Webb Telescope is floating 1 million miles away from the sun, around the sun, and it's taking pictures of galaxies quadrillions of miles away as it orbits, like spin. Does this look like it could stay like stable, like out in a space vacuum? What about micro asteroids or like you know, like, I don't know. But for everybody that's been asking me about meteors and meteor showers, yeah. Ever gone into your car and seen a cigarette lighter and seen what that does? A bunch of wires when they heat up really red? They could be dropping these things out of planes with fireworks inside of them, you know, like creating the trail behind it. Who knows, dude, what they have. The advanced technology that they've been hiding from us, like, you know, cars that run on water and shit. But like, seriously, this wasn't hard to find. Like, all I did was search NASA sataloon. Like, seriously. Yeah. A lot of helium, guys. Lots of helium. Not only that, but NASA's got a pretty weird history with Disney and Walt Disney and Werner hanging out all the time. But I'm going to go into that on the podcast. But did you know periscopes actually suggest that the sea levels are level? But if you guys want to hear more truth, make sure you check out my link tree in my bio for my podcast. And make sure you're following me here, and have a good night.
Okay, starting off strong. Is the Earth flat? Oh, is the Earth a globe? Interesting. Is NASA a bunch of liars? Is outer space real? Oh. Is infinite outer space real? Okay. Is the Antarctica ice wall real? Wow. Is there really a South Pole? What else? Damn, not really. That's pretty good. What else? Okay, I had to think of more. Is there a firmament dome above us? Are dinosaurs real? Is the sun local? Are the sun and the moon the same size? No. Are the sun and the moon almost the same size? Are giants real? Interesting. Well, if you want me to ask more questions, let me know.
Wait. This video could change your perspective on everything. You guys know what water acts like in reality, right? It needs a container. It always finds its level at rest. Like, everyone knows this, right? Like, no matter what container you put underwater, it's like all on the surface, it's gonna lay level. Like, I hope that we can agree on this. This is just like basic reality. When water doesn't have a container, it runs to find its level or its new container. So, riddle me this. There's this many gallons of water in our ocean. how am I supposed to believe that I'm on this? Where is the level water? And where's the container? Got something really weird. This will put this into perspective. Yeah. Just look at this picture too long and yeah. Is anyone thinking about this? Like, that many gallons of water. We know how water acts. And you think that it's just deciding to curve 8 inches per mile squared to the convexity of an oblate spheroid? Sea level, guys. Sea level, not sea curve, for a reason. And water doesn't lie. People do. Like, if you weren't aware, we're using water as a leveling tool. It's pretty good at finding its level and laying level. But that's not all water can tell us. Wouldn't there be distortion to this surface if there was any convexity? Like, looks like perfectly reflected to me. And you may say, well, on your model, where's the container? All the water's falling off the edge. Take a picture of the edge, bro. There's no edge. Sorry. Antarctica's actually not a continent on the bottom side of an oblate spheroid. It's actually an ice wall. Kind of like Game of Thrones, yeah. Encompassing us 360 degrees, containing the water. Seriously, water needs a container. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Observable, repeatable, measurable, yeah. Yeah, this, nobody can model this. I don't care how big the ball, I don't care how little the ball. Give me a ball and make water stick to the outside of it while it spins and everything, you know, like show me, like, seriously. This is for the guy that commented on my last post and said that the Bible tells everyone the earth's a ball. Seriously, man, read the Bible again. But if you guys want more pseudoscience being exposed on your For You page, make sure you're following me here and then click on my profile and check out my link tree. It's got my podcast, my Telegram, my YouTube, everything. And be like water, guys. Don't get attached to spinning balls.
Okay guys, since you liked that filter so much last time, let's do it again and ask some more questions. So, is God real? Is gravity real? Is the moon landing fake? Are the planets landable surfaces? Are angels and demons real? Was the Antarctica Treaty made to hide the Antarctica wall and to keep us from knowing that the Earth is flat? I gotta think of more. Hold on. Okay, I just went back to look at some more questions. Are aliens real? Are aliens actually demons? Is Earth the only planet like realm? Does extraterrestrial actually mean extra territory, as in extra land? Okay, I gotta think of more. Okay, is there any extra land past Antarctica? Okay, did aliens build the pyramids? Okay, did giants build the pyramids? Okay, okay, is the Bible true? Okay, is religion man-made? Is God and religion the same thing? Okay, are Ouija boards demonic? Really? Are Ouija boards sometimes demonic? Are psychics talking to demons? I have to keep looking back at questions. All right, last one. Is the Big Bang real? Is evolution made up? And are we the only intelligent life that there is? All right, well, that was fun. And let me know if you want a part 3.
You may have been misled to believe that tides make sense on the apparent oblate spheroid that we're living on, but I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. And if you're new here, yes, the Earth is flat. And before anyone comments that this is a projection of the globe, absolutely not. Scientifically and practically correct as it is. But what the science community is force-feeding down everyone's throat about tides is that the moon is actually pulling the oceans away from the Earth. So let's just get an idea of the scale here. This is the Earth next to the moon. So I'm like logically thinking, I'm like, okay, so how much gravity does the moon have then? If it's like strong enough to pull out, like, I don't know how much ocean water's in the ocean. We'll check in a second. 16.6% of that of the Earth's. So if I'm to jump into fantasy land, this ball is big, so it has more gravity. This ball is small, so it has less gravity. How is this ball's gravity being smaller than this ball, superseding the gravitational pull of this ball to pull out oceans like miles high? You're joking, right? You guys are kidding. Like, this has to be a joke. How did I not see this before? How did I not see this earlier? Like, question. How? So, 0. Dark blue is 0. So, 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. How is there 0 tides? Like, 0 tides? Like, 0 tides? How does 0 tides work if we're on a pair? But my boy Collingworth picked up a pen and pencil and wrote down this masterpiece. I'm not sure if this is exactly how the tides work, because the tides is very complex, and don't worry, we're still going to answer how much gallons of water is in the ocean. Tides are caused by the gentle and gradual rise and fall of the earth on the bosom of the mighty deep. So you can see this is their model, this is what they believed. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going on, because I've also been made aware that our ancestors were drawing pictures like this. This is the North Pole, so I don't know if tides are like coming in and out of these 4 rivers. Something could be going on with that too. But let's find out how many gallons of water the moon is apparently pulling out. But if you want more obvious truths, like the moon definitely isn't causing tides at all, make sure you're following me. And I'm going to tag my backup account down below. Make sure you're following there. And check out my link tree in my bio. Have a good one. Wow. Great question, friend. How does the night sky spin in time lapses if we're on a flat disk? Well, first of all, we're not on a disk in space. I kind of went over that in my other videos. No flat earther believes that. But why the stars spin in a circular motion is because the stars are actually fixed in the firmament. That's why. And Polaris is fixed in the exact same location right there, hasn't moved for centuries, because it's fixed in the firmament. Not because we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, orbiting it at 66,616 miles an hour, spinning 1,000 miles per hour, while on a tilt of an axis. If we were tilted at all, that wouldn't be possible. And you may be like, well, if it's that easy, man, then like, why isn't everyone a flat earther? But they'll tell you that the stars are so far away that that's why they don't move from their fixed positions, meaning the Big Dipper in its position, the Little Dipper, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, all these constellations staying in the same shape, doing this. It's because they're so far away, and this is happening because the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, but we're not seeing any of the other relative motions, apparently. Like, wouldn't it be like Star Wars? Like, you know, if we were going 500,000 miles an hour through a space vacuum? But the quickest way to find out that the stars aren't quadrillions of miles away is to just look at the inverse square law of light. Every time you double the distance of a luminary or something creating light, it becomes 1/4 of the brightness. You think we're seeing stars quadrillions, billions of miles away? Like, no, light doesn't travel forever, man. Meteor showers, meteors, more like this. This is a wire-wrapped ball. Have you ever seen a cigarette lighter in a car, what it looks like when it's heated up? Imagine that this is wrapped in that type of material. They're dropping it out of planes, and they have fireworks in it that are shooting out the bottom side of it, creating the trails behind it. Yeah. And also, not only are these things kind of being found all over the place, and here's the hole at the bottom to allow for the trail, but if up and down isn't relative and we are on a ball, how come we don't see meteor showers or meteors come from the bottom of the horizon up? Like, if you think that the Earth is a ball, they done got you, buddy. This is just how perspective works. You should have took an art class. By the way, the only thing that's been to space, your imagination. These spacewalks that they're doing, yeah, not good, guys. An exact replica in the Neutral Buoyancy Lab that NASA admits to own. Go look at it on their website. Just search Neutral Buoyancy Lab on their website. Yeah, that's where they do all these. But if you want more truth content like this, make sure you're following me. And check out my link tree in my bio. It's got my podcast, Instagram, Telegram, everything you could possibly need. Consider the following. So all of the oceans are apparently convexing to the rotundity of the oblate spheroid that we're living on, right? Even though it's like not demonstratable, like water always lays level. Periscopes actually prove this. Yeah, periscopes, their observer height, maybe like 1 or 2 feet, and they can see 16 miles. Big problems. Modern science tells us with the curvature of the Earth, we should only be able to see 3. And I'm pretty sure that's like from an observer height of 6 feet. This just like visually helped me out a lot when I was finding flat Earth. This is what you guys believe is happening. And this is what actually happens. Water doesn't curve to the container that's under it. That's like pure insanity to believe, actually. But if you want more truth, follow me. Check out my link tree in my bio. It's got my podcast that we're going to be uploading our first episode soon. Word on the street is that you're looking for a way to prove to people that NASA, they don't produce photographs, just images, computer-generated images. Well, all you'd have to do is read their bios. X-ray data from NASA Chandra, X-ray optical data from NASA Hubble, and infrared data from the retired Spitzer Space Telescope, an international team of astronomers has wound back the clock to help determine the timeline of distant stars' demise. 1. This telescope has been decommissioned since January 30th of 2020, apparently. 2. That is them flat out telling you, hey, we took 3 different images, threw it into Photoshop, and layered them over each other to create this. But if you didn't know, I've already exposed these guys and talked about the elephant in the room for about 2 hours on my podcast. It's in my link tree, in my bio, top button. Check it out. In my opinion, dinosaurs never existed. Like, look at this T-Rex. You think that the tail is offsetting the weight of the head to keep this thing balanced? Absolutely not. Like, just think about it. If this dinosaur weighed 20,000, 15,000 pounds, the load bear on the joints itself proves that they wouldn't be able to stand upright. I didn't even realize this until I started looking into it, but imagine you go grab some chicken eggs, go into your backyard and bury them. Do you think that those would fossilize? They're telling us that fossilized dinosaur eggs exist. Need a reason for them to lie about this? Well, the Smithsonian's admitted to destroying thousands of giant human skeletons, so that could be a good reason. But lucky for you, I'm going to be posting 2 hours of content on how dinosaurs were never real, never existed on my podcast. Go to my link tree. It's in my bio. Click on the one that says podcast. Putin could spark territorial free-for-all in Antarctica by threatening to rip up the treaty? The Antarctic Treaty? Wait, the treaty that stops everybody from independently exploring Antarctica? That's right. Word on the street is that this guy's looking to hit the Antarctic ice wall in one way, shape, or form. What are these guys wearing? What in the world does that look like? The Freemason compass and square? Probably nothing, right? But you may be asking, well, who cares? Who cares about the Antarctic Treaty? Like, who cares? Who wants to go south? There's nothing out there. What if I told you that Antarctica's not a continent? It's actually an ice wall that encompasses us. If you didn't know, people have already demonstrated this. Captain Cook and also James Clark Ross circumnavigated the Antarctic wall 60,000 miles. It took them 3 to 4 years. And yes, Antarctica being an ice wall doesn't make any sense on the heliocentric model, so you obviously got to throw that in the trash and realize the Earth might be level with hills and valleys, and water suggests that. It's, 70% of the surface of the Earth is water, and you think it's just curving 8 inches per mile squared around an oblate spheroid? But there could be something really crazy going on in Antarctica. Buzz Aldrin seemed to think so as well. We are all in danger. It's evil itself, and does that look like a pyramid? For everyone wanting to read the Antarctic Treaty for the first time because they've never looked into it, here's the first page, second page, and my favorite, the third page.
The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the areas south of the 60th south latitude. This black line right there. Unless you get special permission from the government, you better not try to go past that. You'll die. But if you're still not convinced that Antarctica's an ice wall, look into Operation High Jump. And also, think about it. The North Pole is in water and the South Pole is in ice. But during the December solstice, the South Pole should be getting about the same amount of light as the North Pole during the June solstice. So, like, should even out. They should be, like, pretty similar, like, have the same amount of life. But at the North Pole, there's tons of moose and stuff running around. And in Antarctica, there's nothing. I'm gonna use this picture as a visual representation. I don't think this is, like, 100% accurate on how it looks, but this could be what's going on past the Antarctic Circle right here. Yeah. The number one question that I get as a flat earther has to be, how are you a flat earther when whenever we look through telescopes, we see spherical objects? But what you probably don't know is a lot of those telescopes are constantly reflecting the image to condense them to make them look more physical, or they're just straight up connected to computers and laptops that give you the final image right away. But don't worry, I've got some exclusive footage from my buddy David Shane, and I'm tagging him right here down below, and my second channel, because way too many of you people already followed me. 40,000 in 7 days. Thank you, but I don't know what's going to happen, so make sure you follow my second page, but enjoy this footage from David's telescopes. Mars, as your eye would see it. Jupiter in its true form. Venus being this bright might tell you that it's giving off its own light. Maybe it's not reflecting the sun's light. With the red filter, notice how bright this planet is. These stars aren't what you've been told. And this planet that you think we're on, every single photo that you've ever seen is actually an image produced from a computer. But if it's real, we're not actually on a ball. Here's a Google Pixel 2 commercial exposing the truth right to your face, but nobody was looking. The joke's on you. If you're seeing this, you're gonna want to stick around till the end. So I don't know about you, I wasn't born before this time, but back in 1986, apparently they were telling everyone that there was a spaceship that was going up called the Challenger. It launched, and 73 seconds into the launch, this happened. Killing all 7 astronauts aboard. Here's just the basic Wikipedia page they'll give you if you search for it so you can read this. Pause. But the more I looked into this spaceship and this explosion, the more questions I had. For example, every single astronaut on the space shuttle apparently had an identical twin. Like, what are the chances of that? You've got Ellison and Claude. Sharon went ahead and only changed her middle name. And Michael, he didn't even care, didn't even try. Francis just went ahead and deleted his first name. Ronald shaved his head and turned into Carl. And Judith went ahead, didn't even change her name, didn't care, went ahead and just started teaching law school. That is like
blows my mind. I don't know about you. You want to know what else blows my mind, though? This picture right here. Yeah, you're not dreaming. They're trying to tell you that satellite coverage cuts off at borders. You want to know what else is like really odd? NASA, public information, got this off their website, has a pool filled with water and has a replica of the ISS in it. And if you didn't know, the father of NASA, Wernher von Braun himself, left us a little hint on his gravestone. Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Why would a guy that made a bunch of rockets and went to space talk about the firmament on his headstone? Now, I'm sure that you've seen this picture before, the Chicago skyline being seen from 60 miles away. Mainstream media told everybody that this was nothing but a superior mirage, so I said I'd better study mirages a little bit, and I did last night. And you're not gonna believe what I found. Well, let's get the basics down. There's an inferior mirage, which mirages things down, the virtual image down. And then there's a superior mirage, which mirages things up, but reflects it. This is due to cold air stacking onto warm air and vice versa. Give you some examples. Superior mirage, another superior mirage. And if you're a critical thinker, you're already thinking, how is this a superior mirage if this is a superior mirage, if it reflects the image upside down? They're actually saying that this is a Fata Morgana mirage. You can read here about them. Here's an example of a Fata Morgana mirage. Another example. So now you're thinking, okay, like, makes a little more sense, but why would it be directly connected to the skyline? If it wasn't the skyline, it would be up. Like, I don't know, still problems. But what if I told you that this type of mirage isn't happening either, though? I messed with the contrast, the brightness, and other things, and I'm seeing the skyline again, guys. I'm wondering if this isn't the skyline here, and this is just a wind line that came through and caused the ripples in the water. And I did the same thing for the other picture. Do this yourself. And is that the skyline actually right there? Right behind the boat going across? And this is again another wind line creating an optical illusion? I'd say yes. So guys, don't get misled when you're looking into superior mirages. This doesn't happen. Ever. You think that the bottom of this boat was perfectly just gonna be refracted into the sky, not connected, like dude, seriously, guys, you just magic, huh? They think you're so stupid. Seriously. They're saying that this is a superior mirage. The sun backlighting the Chicago skyline, they think you're this dumb. Really? Wow. And I'm not gonna name call today, but there's a specific heliosexual going around on lives saying that inferior mirages are the curvature of the earth. No. Inferior mirages are the most common mirage that we'll see over the ocean. There's no curvature to the earth. Look how obvious this is, though. Look at this Fata Morgana mirage. Oh, it's just a wind line. They tried to get away with this one too. They tried to tell you this one was too. This is a wind line coming through. This is water. This is reality. You want more content like this? Follow me and check out my link tree in my bio. This plane in and of itself, the SR-71, proves that we're not on an oblate spheroid that spins. The Lockheed can fly at a max height of Mach 3. And flies at an insanely high altitude. Now, if the Lockheed can go over 2,000 miles an hour, how much curvature should it have to account for to stay at the same altitude? Top speed, again, is 2,200 miles an hour. Let's just say there's 2,200 miles between point A and B. That would be 570 miles of curvature between the 2 points of reference. That'd mean that the Lockheed would have to be dipping 9.5 miles a minute, or 836 feet a second. But let's see what NASA thinks about planes flying over Earth. Derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model. Model of a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. It's gotta be the only one, right? It's gotta be the only one. A mathematical model of a CH-53 helicopter. The helicopter equations of motion are given in a body axis with respect to a flat and rotating Earth? If this is the first time you're hearing this, then you heard it here first, you know what I'm saying? The sun actually goes around our flat Earth like this, clockwise. It acts as a spotlight shining down onto the flat Earth that we live on. It gets closer and farther away, causing seasons from the North Pole. On its most inner declination around the North Pole, that's when Alaska can see 24 hours. On its most outer declination, that's when the Northern Hemisphere experiences winter. This is the equator. This dark line here going in a circle, that's the equator. Everything north, which is towards the North Pole, and everything south of the equator is the South Hemisphere. This is the Northern Hemisphere. Water, needs a container, dude. And I'll tell you what's containing all of the quadrillions of gallons of water in our ocean. Antarctica. It's actually an ice wall that encompasses us 360 degrees. And there's an Antarctic treaty written and that says the 60th south latitude can't go past there. You'll die. Sea level. Seriously. Think about it. All the water's level. It's all at the same level. But I plan on starting a podcast to expose all of this and plenty more. So check out my bio. Check out my link tree in my bio. Click on my profile. I'm being censored on my main page, so that's why you're seeing me here. I'm kind of doing a test. So, but seriously, follow my Instagram. Check out my link tree. Have a good night. Have you guys seen this? Kyrie Irving believes the Earth is flat. They lie to us. Would you look at that? Even Rolling Stone weighed in on this. Kyrie Irving's idiotic flat Earth belief is influencing younger fans. Oh no. Kyrie Irving apologizes for saying the Earth is flat. Didn't realize the effect? Well, Kyrie Irving may be apologizing, but I won't. But in honor of Kyrie Irving spilling the beans to the public, I figured I'd give you guys a couple reasons why me and Kyrie figure the Earth is probably a plane and not a planet. The horizon being horizontal, no matter how high up we go, is a big indicator that we're not on a ball. Are you in denial? The Nile River supposedly runs 4,000 miles against the curvature of the Earth. They're saying that this thing's just running up the ball. Nice. So essentially you'd have to believe that that river is running up over 1,500 miles of curvature. The pyramids of Giza in Egypt, realigning under the Orion Belt every year, once a year, tells us that we are probably not on a ball doing this around the sun. If the Earth were flat, the sun wouldn't set. We'd be able to pull a telescope out and see it all the time, right? No, absolutely not. The ground and sky converge together at eye level, creating the vanishing point / horizon. It's an optical horizon, not a physical. The sun simply moves away from viewer into the vanishing point, creating the illusion that it's moving down and setting / rising. But also, you're not able to pull the sun back into frame just with a telescope because the atmosphere is opaque, bro. There's density to the atmosphere. There's particles in the air. Can you do that? It's kind of like a swimming pool. Go to one end, can't see the other end, even though the water's clear. It's called opaque. Google it. The P1000 showing, stars twinkling, changing colors, shape-shifting, it looks like it's in water. Isn't good enough, but this was... You're joking, right? These people will get so mad at you denying that the Earth's a ball, but just praise and worship that this thing went to the moon. Seriously, I've got to believe seismometers can detect earthquakes, but not the spin of the Earth? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Seriously, if you had to guess, which picture was produced by NASA and which pictures were produced by independent flat earthers that sent up, weather balloons with cameras on them? Which one would you think? The horizon shouldn't rise to eye level, no matter how high up we go. This is kind of how it should work if we were actually on a ball. Did he say actually on a ball? Yeah. The Earth, I don't think it's a ball at all. I don't think it's an oblate spheroid, an ellipsoid, any of the above, and I've got good reason. Look at how much your guys' ball is changing. Like, you've really just got to analyze what they're putting in front of you, and you'll see the problems if, you're actually able to critically think. So if these guys were standing at these spots on the moon as they took their pictures, how was the Earth captured with the horizon of the moon? If the same face of the moon is always facing us, wouldn't they have had to look up? The moon can get seriously bright. What? Wait. What? Run off looking for globe Earth proofs and be reading this book for a long time. The sun's 93 million miles away. Sure. There's like tons of examples like this, 110 miles doesn't really make a lot of sense. This is what Mars looks like when you zoom in on it with a Nikon P1000, and this is what you'll get from NASA. How about 900 miles? Think the firmament is stupid? The sun's not a ball of fire shooting light in every single direction. Acts more like a spotlight over our flat Earth, and all the other stars, not looking super physical. Any of these planets or stars look oddly similar to, water and light interacting with each other. Hey, you got a second? You may think flat Earth is stupid, but NASA? They sure don't. Linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Number 2 in this paper, the rigid body equation of motion over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This is a good one. The program, while maintaining its fidelity for the most maneuvers and applications, point mass modeling, non-turbulent atmosphere, 0 side forces, and a non-rotating Earth. Here's another one. I wonder what point A is. The Earth is flat and non-rotating. I wonder if that's why Obama was always making fun of flat earthers, so it would become herd mentality. Also, maybe us taking long distance photography photos 273 miles away. The top peak of these mountains that we're seeing is 3 miles high, okay? So there's 9 miles of missing curvature, so if you add the peaks of the mountain, that's 6 miles. The Earth's flat. For anybody with a conscience still, this should be obvious. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And these guys are, stare at this picture too long. I know that they brainwashed everybody in school, no, everybody thought Copernicus, Pythagoras, we all thought that the Earth was a ball forever, man. No. Whoa, they lied. They lied to us. I'm sorry, they lied to you, they lied to me. All of our ancestors left us pictures, and none of them were drawn balls. I've said it before, I will say it again. Something's going on at the North Pole. This is what our ancestors drew, and this is what I'm getting on Google Earth. No way in hell. Let me go check right now. Density, guys. Density, buoyancy, electromagnetism, observable, repeatable, measurable forces. Gravity is not holding Australians to the bottom side of an oblate spheroid that spins 1,000. No, just because Freemasons say it doesn't mean it's true. Seriously. Think about it. Lighthouses, right? You can see these things from almost 100 miles away, dude. There's no way we're on a ball. That's 6,666 feet of missing curvature. Over a mile, man. They're laughing at you guys, okay? Yeah, you get it? They're laughing at you. That's a flat Earth map. That's the UN logo. Look it up. This model defies the second law of thermodynamics every day, okay? Seriously, check out my link tree. Check out my Instagram. It's got my old videos. Follow me here. I just got banned. Have a good night. Antarctica isn't a continent. It's actually an ice wall that encompasses us 360 degrees all the way around. And if you pull out a compass and lay it flat, because a compass doesn't work if you lay it upwards. It only works if you lay it flat, level. So people in Australia apparently can't use compasses because they're on the southern hemisphere, so they'd have to point through the Earth at the North Pole. Makes no sense. All I'm trying to get at is that in the center of this, right here, is the North Pole. That's where all the compasses pull. And if you were to go south, You go away from north, right? The opposite direction of north, meaning it just depends on where your starting point is, where you're at right now. If you go south, you'll hit the Antarctic wall. But the government will always stop you. They'll either pull up in a boat or pull up in a plane and tell you to turn around or they'll kill you. Same thing with the North Pole for some reason. They don't want us going too far north. Do what you can with this info.
We did Space Force, which is going to be so vital, and we not only did it, I mean, it's up and running and really great, because this is what we need. Russia has it, and China has it, and they were way advanced over us, and I got it started. The other thing I did is I opened up NASA again. That was closed. There was grass growing in the cracks of the runway. They were all broken up runways, and we're seeing advancement now that I don't believe we would have ever seen had we done it the old-fashioned way, which we're also using. You know, we're planning on Mars, to go to Mars, you land on the moon, and then you have your pad going to Mars. And, you know, all of that's being worked on, and it's very exciting, and a lot of good things are happening. But we also need it for military and for military protection. So we're doing it for that. I mean, to me, that might be number one, because when you look at what China's doing, when you look at what Russia's doing, and now, because of what I did, we are leading the pack in space by far.
Hey, have you ever heard the song Californication? Yeah, by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You remember when they were like, space might be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Yeah, I think about those lyrics all the time. So unless you live under a rock, you would agree with me that they're showing us a lot of truth in the TV shows and the movies and the commercials. I'm gonna show you a couple of my favorite truths that have been shown in TV shows, movies, and commercials of the flat earth. Before we get into this, clear your mind of everything you've been taught, because I'm about to show you a lot of truth that's been in your face and you didn't realize it. Chicken Little showing you the firmament. The Pirates of the Caribbean showing you the true map. Yeah, the Hunger Games has multiple references to the firmament. Can't forget the Men in Black just flat out saying it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
Remember the reference to the firmament in King Kong? If you haven't seen this one, this is one of my favorites.
What is it? It just stands, Captain. It's the edge of the world. Hey up. It's flat. Well, that's it.
They're even putting it in the kids' TV shows.
Okay, if the Earth is a pancake, then how do we get both day and night?
Because the sun is like a spotlight, and it moves around shining on one place at a time.
For people that actually have their eyes open, it's obvious to see that we're being lied to. These people, they've been putting it in our face constantly and consistently. But if the cognitive dissonance is too strong, have fun on your ball. Now, if you're being honest with me, you'll admit gravity makes no sense. Sometimes gravity causes planets and moons to orbit a gas ball in space while there's no oxygen in space, not constantly pulling things towards center mass, keeping things at perfect distances, doing elliptical orbits. And then other times, gravity is constantly pulling millions or trillions of gallons of water to center mass, causing the Earth to look like this. No container, no level water. All of this is from gravity. All I'm trying to get at is that gravity makes no sense, and it's out there. It's still a theory, and the longer something's a theory, the more irrelevant it becomes. Buoyancy and density, guys. It's not. But the quickest way to find out that the stars aren't quadrillions of miles away is to just look at the inverse square law of light. Every time you double the distance of a luminary or something creating light, it becomes a fourth of the brightness. You think we're seeing stars quadrillions, billions of miles away? Like, no, light doesn't travel forever, man. A lot of people probably look at this photo and think, man, how beautiful. Me personally, I wonder what they really did that day. This photo came from the STS-8 mission from back in 1983 on August 30th. And to give you an idea of why I'm saying I wonder what they really did that day, I'm just gonna straight up show you a video on YouTube of their stream that they did back then. And you decide for yourself if you think that they really went to space that day.
Crews have explained in the cockpit during first stage, we were shaking around a little bit, but nothing you couldn't handle. And from reports that people on the ground, they got a pretty spectacular show. From inside the cockpit looking out, it looked like you kind of expect it to look like at the top of this. You were looking into a cloud with a bright light. I mean, it was just a glow all around the cockpit. And once we got up away from the ground a little bit, you couldn't see the ground anymore, and it just looked like you were in the middle of a glowing ball. Which we were.
The view from space was just spectacular, and this is just an indication of that just from the cockpit. One of the objectives of our mission was to deploy the INSAT satellite, and this is the cockpit arrangement associated with deploying the satellite. Very few vibrations of any sort.
What is that?
Vibrations of any sort. There were very few.
I'm just gonna let this keep playing.
Vibrations of any sort. There were very few vibrations of any sort.
NASA hasn't always been known for its most positive roots. This one always speaks for itself. And if you haven't seen my other video on the Challenger mission, the STS-51 mission, definitely check that one out. Antarctica. And when you really start looking into this continent, things get really weird. Why are they naming places Dome? Dome Argus, Valkyrie Dome, Dome A, Dome C. I don't know. Maybe there's a dome out there, but does anybody know who this guy is? Or this guy right here? Anybody know who this guy is? These two handsome guys are Captain Cook and James Clark Ross. They circumnavigated Antarctica, and get this, the Antarctic shoreline, we're told, is about 11,000 to 12,000 miles, and when these guys circumnavigated, it took them 60,000 miles and up to 3 to 4 years. Are you seeing the problems that I have with this continent again? It's not a continent. It's an ice wall that surrounds us. It's about 200 feet tall and, again, about 50 to 60,000 miles long. But what's this up here? Antarctica Treaty. Huh. The Antarctic Treaty. You mean this one that's completely stopping anyone from independently exploring the Antarctic wall and seeing if there's more resources and land out there, like Admiral Byrd suggested? That's the exact treaty that I'm talking about. And it literally writes right in it that the provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th south latitude, which is this black line right here. Yeah, 100%. We are being gate-kept. We're being gate-kept in here by NASA for over 50 years. Here's another, think about the North and South Pole. They should be pretty similar due to the tilt of the Earth and it precessing and orbiting. But one's in water and one's on ice. And the North Pole can sustain life pretty well, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of things living out in Antarctica other than some penguins hanging out on the edge. And by edge, I mean over here and in places I don't even think that this is possible. I think only here where they'll take you on these little trips that cost $10,000. Like this one right here, $13,790. And this is all they do. They come down here, you get to see some penguins, and they turn around and go home. So don't ever ask another flat earther again when anybody's going to be sailing off the edge of the earth or where it is, because there is no edge to the earth. All we know is there's an ice wall surrounding us that we're not allowed to go explore. And if I need to remind you, none of our ancestors thought we were on a precessing, spinning, orbiting ball chasing the sun. They actually all thought it was flat with a hard, fast firmament over our heads, but what do you think? Flat or round? If you haven't heard, NASA's trying to convince everybody that they sent a spaceship over 10 months, hundreds of millions of miles, to redirect an asteroid that was gonna come and kill us all. Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna need you to just watch the video and we'll chat after. Like, as I watch this looks like something that would come out of like the 60s or the 70s. Like, why isn't this asteroid spinning or anything? Wow. By the way, they live streamed that to everybody while that thing was millions of miles away, but I can't get service while I'm up in the mountains. They're claiming they know like specific things about this rock that's supposed to be floating around in this space vacuum, like how many feet across it is. By the way, this cost the American people $324.5 million. Double asteroid redirection test DART. The probe was launched from Earth in November 2021 and impacted on September 26, 2022. They're just remote controlling this thing perfectly for 9 months to perfectly land it into an asteroid to redirect it. If you want to know the real purpose of lying to everyone and telling them that they're doing this and showing this obviously fake footage is about as real as the WWE, they're trying to convince everybody that if we don't have NASA, that we will die from an asteroid. We're not going to die from an asteroid anytime soon. They don't exist. So if the Earth isn't flat, then how is the current world record distance for a photograph 273.4 miles? That's 9.4 miles of missing curvature between these 2 points. The peak of the mountains that we're looking at here is 15,700 feet, and if there's about 5,000 feet in a mile, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the mountain would only be 3 miles tall and there's 9 miles of it. But unfortunately for all of the heliosexuals out there, this is happening all over the world. This one you can see from 190 miles away, guys. There's no curvature to the Earth. This skyline, Chicago skyline from 60 miles away, it's not a mirage, guys. It's just reality. No distortion means no curvature, guys. If the Earth was actually a ball spinning 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, and orbiting the sun at 66,616 miles an hour on average, don't you think it'd be pretty easy to prove that in court? Well, I'm here to tell you today, it's absolutely not. You think that flat Earth is so stupid, but your guys' entire model is completely unprovable, and all it is a bunch of theories. Thompson vs. Garcia 2019 court case. Essentially what happened here is Zen held a contest for $5,000. This guy sued him for $15,000, and he not only lost once, but twice in court. The rules to the contest were really simple. All that Zen wanted, was a real-world experiment to prove curvature, that the radius was 3,959 miles. The reason he lost? Tried to prove the curvature by using a computer software. We don't want your guys' software. We don't want your guys' math equations. Show me some real-world experiments or evidence that there's curvature to the Earth, because I'm not seeing any. If we go to like 130,000 feet and the horizon is completely horizontal, I don't know. All that I'm trying to say here is that if this was reality, I feel like it would be obvious. I feel like it would be easy to prove. I feel like we wouldn't lose in court if we were actually doing any of those centrifugal motions around and with the sun. If you ask me, there's probably a lot more to the moon than we think. The moon's on a 28-day phase cycle, creating a moon. A lot of people theorize that if there weren't so many chemicals and birth control and things like that messing with women's menstrual cycles, that they'd be directly aligned with the moon phases. Some are even saying that the moon is a reflection of the Earth, and I can't confirm this, but can't say it's not interesting. And if you haven't gone outside during the day, yeah, we're seeing through it. I don't think that this thing's a dusty rock. Science tells us only due to perspective the moon and the sun are the same size. Not in reality. The sun is somehow 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon. But this all happened from a cosmic random explosion. Like, think about it. How do we see the same side of the moon if it's actually a ball? If we're both spinning, because obviously the moon is spinning too as it apparently orbits around us. It's spinning at the perfect rate so that we'll never see the other side. I wonder if there's like a law of thermodynamics explaining how chaos can never go to order. What do I mean by that? You'll never be able to throw all the parts to create a car out into the woods and have it randomly fall together and create a car. That's what a lot of people are saying happened with our world, the moon. Like, there's too many synchronicities in my opinion. If you find from your own experience that something is a fact and it contradicts what some authority has written down, then you must abandon the authority and base your reasoning on your own findings. Great quote. And if you didn't know, there's also something called the lunar wave that happens to the moon, where literally like a wave just... I'll show you it, but I also just did a 2-hour podcast with the first person that filmed the very first lunar wave and basically kicked off the flat earth movement. Man, am I thankful for that guy. But check this out.
So I'm filming one night looking for objects. I pan my camera down and the wave starts, this hologram wave. I don't notice it. And then it catches up to the camera and I do notice it. I glance at the moon, but when you're staring at things, you don't know whether it's your eyes or what. And then I notice a second wave coming. And at this point, I'm thinking it's my camera. I look up at the moon again and, I just don't know what to think.
Yeah, weird, right? We talk about the lunar wave and much more in the podcast that I just recorded with Crow. Link in my bio for the website, top button. All I can say is that we've been lied to about the moon. I don't think that it's what we've been told. I don't know if it's a hologram or what, but it's definitely not a ball. Balls don't reflect light like it's reflecting light. When I ask for proof that the Earth is spinning, orbiting, or chasing the sun, everybody seems to always quote the Foucault's pendulum. This thing right here, if you didn't know. We've had the Foucault's pendulum since about 1851. I've been noticing, a lot of misled people. What, did you think that they hung this ball from the ceiling and then it started spinning perfectly to knock these over? It's admitted by the people that created the pendulum that it was hard to recreate the same motion, and they always seem to have to give it a push. These don't just move independent like the Earth is actually a ball spinning. Also, you're probably gonna find this kinda odd. Foucault's pendulum again, around 1851, and we've got Albert Einstein saying, "I have come to believe that the motion of the Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment." In 1922. This may be the only time that I agree with Albert Einstein. There is no visual evidence that anybody can ever provide that we are actually spinning. You can create different models all day. You can create a concave Earth model that works with the phenomena that's happening in the sky. Doesn't mean it's correct. Same with the ball Earth. Just to get back to the basics, if you just really sit down and maybe meditate on this one, you'll realize really quick, this isn't making a lot of sense. This is what people think is happening, but nobody can recreate the surface of water convexing to its container. This is what reality's like. The stars and the planets in the sky are not what we've been told, and I want to explain something real quick and then show you guys a minute of footage that I took last night of the moon and the stars in the sky. This is out of focus. This is not. And this doesn't exist. For the last minute, I'm going to show you what stars actually look like. Galileo was trying to tell everybody that he was seeing perfectly solid, gaseous balls out in outer space with this telescope that he created. He was seeing perfectly round, solid balls out in outer space, but when we take a Nikon P900 at over 125x zoom, we're not seeing that. Never mind Galileo's telescope or the P900 or P1000, I actually ended up picking up my own 8-inch Dobsonian reflector telescope and check out this star that I filmed through it. Not looking like a solid gaseous ball. Yeah, I have no idea what Galileo was on, but seriously guys, if you want to hear more of me exposing the truth about what's going on in the sky and much more, check out my podcast, link in my bio, top button. You may think that asking flat earthers, well, if the earth is flat, then how did they fly from Pearl Harbor to Japan? You may have thought this was a logical question before. I'm here to tell you today, it's absolutely not. If you just look at the actual map that we use, that map before is not the flat earth map. This is our best representation, and Pearl Harbor would be somewhere out here, and that's Japan. There's a lot of confusion, so let me clear this up in the most simple way that I know. This is the claim that has no evidence. This is the psyop, that there's a disk floating out in space when we don't even believe in space, and this is reality. We just live on a level plane. I don't know how far this thing goes out. For you guys that actually do want to look into the true shape of the Earth, this is a good book. The first example of an emergency landing that demonstrates that we probably are on a flat Earth is this one. An Argentinian and a Brazilian team were invited to compete in the 200th anniversary of Captain Arthur Phillips' Gold Cup. Now remember the title of the book. This is an emergency landing, so they landed essentially immediately to get onto the ground as soon as they could. But where they landed was kind of odd. Thousands of miles north of the equator. But if we look at it on a flat Earth, right over it. While we're chatting about planes, nobody's seeing curvature from a commercial plane flight, guys. Absolutely not. Even Neil's admitted this. Just check out my other videos. I think these people are going to space. Doesn't look like space to me, guys. Or like a scuba diving day over at the NASA Neutral Buoyancy Lab. You know what I'm talking about, guys? Does the size of America just like fluctuate over the years, or like... What is going on here? Is nobody gonna address this? Like, seriously, I've never heard a logical argument for how we have air pressure in our atmosphere with no container. This is insanity. Crepuscular rays suggest that the sun is probably local and not 93 million miles away, because these rays wouldn't be shooting in all different directions. It's like the sun isn't like super far behind the clouds right here. Circumnavigation is possible on both models, guys. So, just because Amelia Earhart went around the world doesn't mean that the Earth's a ball. It just means that she just went due east. west. But when you're ready to leave the Matrix, let me know. Make sure you're following me so you can keep up on the truth that I'm putting out, and check out my link tree in my bio for my podcast, Instagram, Telegram. It's all there. So find what you need and follow, and have a good night.